Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Authentic Info Podcast. I'm your host, Mashatile. We must prepare for Paul Mashatile to be president of South Africa, whether we want it or not. If the ANC emerges victorious in 2024, there's a chance that before President Ramaphosa finishes his second term, Deputy President Paul Mashatile will be the president of South Africa and the president of the ANC. Why do I say this? We know that the ANC has created a precedent that there's no ANC president who's going to finish his term. And we've seen this with Thabo Mbeki, President Zuma, and there's no way that President Ramaphosa thinks that the way he entered into that seat is not the way he's going to live. So they've created a precedent that the deputy on second term must prepare to make sure that he takes power. So we must prepare for Paul Mashatile to be our president. And the question is, who else is there that we think is credible enough to sit on the driver's seat and steer this country forward? Because everyone was happy. Majority of the people were happy to have President Ramaphosa compared to former President Zuma, because we didn't know what was coming. A lot of people were saying that President Ramaphosa has his own money, he is rich, and is going to work for the state. And he fooled us, because upon assuming his duties as president, he said half of his salary is going to be donated and things like that. And we thought we had the right guy, until they started to make the country ungovernable, collapse all state-owned enterprises, take tenders everywhere. I mean, when last did we see young people who have companies doing business with the state? We see the big companies now coming, to bid for small tenders. And we know that these small tenders were meant for everyone who is emerging as an entrepreneur. In villages, we knew young people who would grab tenders here and there, young people under the administration of President Zuma. President Ramaphosa came to power. He changed all that. We don't know who's getting the tenders now. And all the roads have potholes. Villages which did not have roads have just forgotten about being considered for tar roads and things like that. So these are some of the things that will make the current deputy president to emerge, because people want an alternative. People don't want someone who will stay in power forever. And I think 2 terms will be way too much for someone like President Ramaphosa. Looking at the scandals that are coming in and looking at the type of leadership that he has, because it has collapsed the ANC and it has collapsed South Africa. A lot of people do no longer believe in the administration of President Ramaphosa. They want him out. Those who are ANC are no longer going to their voting districts or voting stations to cast votes when it's time for elections. More than 16 million South Africans who are eligible to vote are no longer participating, and it is worrying. It is worrying because the administration of President Ramaphosa has come to loot the state coffers, and no one wants to account. And even the president himself is not someone who is transparent. He is not transparent, doesn't want to account to anything. And he is glad because he has a team of people in strategic positions who protect him. He has the media on his side. He has the official opposition, the DA, on his side. And he is untouchable. The judiciary is run by someone who the Judicial Service Commission did not recommend, but he is now the Chief Justice. So there is no way, when you want to use the available procedures and institutions to try and hold him to account. There's nowhere to go. The only way or the only things that are left are two things. It's for the ANC to take him out from within using the deputy president, and for South Africans to vote the ANC out in 2024. But we know the way the ANC operates. The ANC is very visible when it's time for general elections. The ANC knocks each and every door in South Africa when it's time for general elections. They go there with T-shirts. They go there with food parcels to buy votes. And they know their people. And they always emerge victorious. Whether the numbers are declining or not, what matters is that they still win elections and they are still the majority in all or in various or in the many wards that exist in South Africa. They are still the majority, and a lot of people deep down still love the ANC. Those who have left the ANC, for example, they've left the ANC because they think it does no longer represent what it was supposed to or what it used to. They didn't leave the ANC because they hate President Ramaphosa. They still love the ANC, but they left to try and pursue what they think ANC is supposed to do. Because all these political parties that exist in South Africa, it is very few that branched out of oppositions. Majority of them, they branch out of the ANC to pursue a certain principle that the ANC has forsaken, and which they feel or felt like it represents the masses of their people. So Paul Mashatile is deputy president, and Didi Mabuza left to give him space to operate. And we know that as they've created this culture of getting rid of their own president when it's towards the end of the second term, we know that there's no way that the President Ramaphosa is going to continue until he finishes his term. And one thing that the ANC or that is continuing to divide the ANC and kill it slowly, it's because they don't want to discuss the succession of the ANC. In the ANC, we know that the deputy president mostly comes from a different faction. And when he takes power, the other faction will come with someone who they would like to put to power if that one goes. So it's not the type of leadership where we know that after this generation will come, the president potentially will be that one or that one and things like that, like they used to. Because we know that ANC, if Mandela's president, the Mbeki will follow. From Mbeki, Zuma will come, or Mutlante and things like that. But it changed. Now the deputy president is not guaranteed that he will be president comes the next conference, election conference. They might vote for someone and then the deputy president is nothing. So they've changed a lot of things in the ANC. The culture is dead. The tradition of doing things in the ANC is dead. That is why now it's like a coup in the ANC where a president is ambushed and forced to resign internally. That is what happened to Zuma. That is what happened to Mbeki. And unfortunately, and I believe that it's going to happen to President Ramaphosa. Because he's not a saint. He's not a saint. It's just that a lot of people who are in the ANC, they are scared to take him on because they know that they are not clean, and he has the judiciary on his side and he has the media on his side. So to fight him, it needs someone who carries a different strategy. It needs someone who is strong, because everyone who tries to fight President Ramaphosa is isolated by even their faction. Look at, for example, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma has been isolated in the ANC. Those who believe in the principles, culture, traditions, and policies of the ANC, those who believe that Ramaphosa is not the one, are scared to come out, are scared to be on the line of march with the likes of Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. They are scared. They don't want to come out, but they stand to benefit. So they rather protect their own interests than the interests of the people, which is bad. It's bad because it means that everyone is going to compromise what the ANC stands for. Everyone's going to compromise their duties and authority in trying to protect their bread, in trying to protect the president. Because when you're against the president, there are people who are going to intimidate you. There are bullies who are there, who are ready to intimidate everyone else who is against the president. But they don't do this because they love the president. They do this because they are careerists in politics. They are political careerists who want to be in each and every administration until they die. So they play for the team of the president until the next term. And then when they see that this one might emerge, they start to play for their team, like that, like the likes of Fikile Mbalula. This is someone who has never maintained one position. This is someone who's like a betrayer when other political analysts try to analyze. Someone who cannot be trusted. So that's the culture in the ANC that they have created recently. People who are not trustworthy, people who neglect the interest of the masses or the people who neglect the mandate of the people to protect the president for their own benefit, to be considered to be ministers in the next administration, to be considered to be deputies and generals and things like that. But we must prepare, because currently, even though there are no ways to fight the president, because he seems to be very connected and have captured everyone and all institutions which are supposed to fight him or to be used to fight him. Since he has closed all those doors, the only thing that is left is for the ANC itself to take him out towards the end of his second term and put in Paul Mashatile. But still, Paul Mashatile will have to play an intelligent role in ensuring that, because his moves must be undetected. Other than that, they are going to use the media to crush him, like they've started now. There was a time this year where each and every week we would hear Paul Mashatile scandals. We would hear Paul Mashatile scandals, like everyone wanted his head. Like someone in the ANC wanted his head, but he fought, he managed to calm the situation. So he's one of them. He knows how the game is played, and I think he can take the president head on. But he has to be very careful, because the president is someone who has the judiciary on his side, who has the media on his side, even has the DA on his side. Other than that, we have another option in 2024 is to go all out and vote for opposition. Go all out 2024, vote for opposition party, and make sure that we see a new government in 2024. But the question of new government, it's quite interesting, because all these other opposition parties, when you check the positions that are there, which are political, positions of political deployment, I think they are more than the constituency of all these opposition parties. It's something that we must not shy away from or run away from. It's a fact. If, for example, the DA win elections by a great number, it will need to use its own people as in the cabinet, ministers, deputies. These ministers have their own offices, mobile office, things like that. The people they move with, these are supposed to be DA people. Departments, all departments in South Africa are headed by individuals. They are supposed to be people who are heads in these departments. And within these departments, there are different faculties or components which are run by directors, deputy directors, and directors are political positions. So they will need a lot of people who they trust, by the way, not to put anyone. Because Julius Malema says the hunter uses his dogs to hunt. So which means he knows that if he takes power, he needs to have his own people to govern. And it's very difficult because all these positions are critical. You put someone you don't know, you will regret. There are diplomats which will have to be recalled from all countries, and they will have to put their own people. So when we say that people must learn and understand politics, these are some of the things that we mean, so that you understand that when we talk about the new government, it's not only the president, but it's a lot of people who will have to be moved around to create this new government. Because you cannot only have Malema as a president of South Africa and still have the general of the SANDF who is still ANC. So everything that will still be happening in the SANDF will be the ideology of the ANC. So that is not a change of government. It means when a government change, we must be prepared to see different directors, to see different commissioners, to see different ministers, deputies, to see different heads of departments, to see different premiers, to see different structures in provincial level, to see different MECs, to see different diplomats. So this needs a lot of new people from that particular political party who carries the mandate of that particular political party and who will account wherever they will be placed. They will have to account to their political party. And the political party will still needs to be left with enough people to hold those who are already placed in different positions to account. So if the ANC, with the numbers that it has, fails to hold to account its people, imagine Action SA wins elections in 2024. Who are they going to use in these millions of positions that exist? Because they don't have that constituency to match the positions that exist in government, which are political. So these are some of the things that we must know as young people. These are the opportunities that exist in politics. That when there's supposed to be a change of government, this is what is going to happen. This is what transpires. And it's very emotional. Because these people have long been in these positions and they will have to be recalled. There are those who are ambitious to be Minister of Finance in 2024. They will have to be recalled. They will miss such an opportunity. So this is where it is going. This is where we are heading. If the ANC loses power in 2024, it means that there's going to be a change of government, and majority of the faces of commissioners, directors, and ministers are going to change, and we're going to see new people. We're going to see new people. That is why some political parties say they don't support cadre deployment, because they can see that if they can win, they don't have enough cadres to deploy to these positions, and they will have to compromise and put people who they do not know based on qualifications and things like that. Because some majority of politicians do not support the notion of qualifications from the heart. They support that because they want to try and win, voters from people who have qualifications, because they think that they will be led to believe that they will be given opportunities because they won't be cadre deployment. Does it happen? there will always be cadre deployment. There's no way that a political party will come in with a minister who is not politically affiliated with them. So cadre deployment will always be there, and we must be prepared for it to stay like that. But we must understand how a change of government is going to take effect if that happens, and if we become the generation to witness that. Those who witnessed 1994 they knows what transpired, and the ANC was not prepared enough. That is why they co-governed with white people, of the National Party. And then they took it from there. They had to be taught, they had to learn. And during that time, white people were stealing a lot of money out of the state coffers and trying to establish themselves elsewhere. So Paul Mashatile might be our president, or is going to be president before President Ramaphosa finishes his term. We must be prepared for him. As soon as the ANC emerges victorious in 2024, we must be prepared for Paul Mashatile to be on the driver's seat towards the end of the term of President Ramaphosa. This is Authentic Info Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.